Welcome everyone to night 2 of this extravaganza that we call Wrestlemania here on A Plus Productions, and specifically A Plus Wrestling. We're your hosts. I'm Boris, and as always, I am joined by Matt.
Bonjour, everyone. We did it. Looks like we made it. Praise be to Barry Manilow. Boris, I think we're both feeling a little stuffy, a little sore in the throat area right now, buddy. But we persevere because we're warriors, damn it. We must bring you content.
That's exactly it, my friend. Yeah, man. It is Monday morning, and I think we're both getting a little sick, as they like to say. So I feel like I mentioned it right before we started recording. I feel like we have a timer before both of our voices go. But yeah, man, WrestleMania weekend. WrestleMania is done. Matt, sober second thoughts, sober morning thoughts. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I did crack the last of my beers because I had one left in the fridge for this podcast, Boris. But yes, so sober morning.
Nothing
thoughts.
sober about it then.
Not pretty sober. I'm half of one in, but yeah. So night 2 started off even better than night 1. It was like, wow, we got a WrestleMania cooking here, though, especially the opening match of night 1, which we will well get into. But man, did it fall off a cliff halfway through. And then the ending, this is going to go down as actually probably one of the worst WrestleMania main events of all time, sadly. The inexplicable Travis Scott run-in, walking to the ring like he's the fucking Undertaker in slow motion. It's just like, it's unsatisfying storytelling for wrestling fans that the end of WrestleMania, the biggest match and the biggest show of the year, is random famous dude shows up. That's like the big angle they came up with. I understand WWE going for the casual fan, and 9 times out of 10, I feel like it makes sense, and it is kind of the right decision, but this was just so lazily done and so out of nowhere. This is going to go down as one of the most hated and confusing WrestleMania main events of all time. What do you think about the show, and how was Gabby's watching it with the Poison Rana crew?
Yeah, Poison Rana crew was awesome. Thank you guys. It's always a pleasure. If you're in the Toronto area, make it out to one of these watch parties, because it's always fun to watch wrestling with a crew, with a crowd. It was packed at Gabby's. I gotta say, everyone, you know what? While I personally do feel the same way about the main event, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people did, everyone seemed to enjoy it, right? Watching it, like you said on Saturday, watching wrestling with like-minded people is always different, right? Like I went with a buddy of mine, a buddy that I just met a few months ago through Jane and her brother, and he loves wrestling, and he gravitated towards me because he's a geek. He's an IT geek. He loves nerd shit, and he loves wrestling. So we bonded over that. And like I said, while watching it, it was what it was. It was WrestleMania. Watching it with a packed bar of like-minded individuals. Bought a fanny pack. Nice. Can't wait to wear it with my Zumba pants. But
what a rush.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I don't know. I'm confused. This honestly felt, and you said it best on Saturday too, it felt like a TNA fucking finish. And I get what they were trying to do, and I appreciate what they ended up doing, but the execution was not excellence.
No, indeed. Bret Hart was shaking his head, I'm sure, backstage. But yeah, it was the first half of the show was excellent, and we did have an all-time WrestleMania match on this program, so let's focus on that. But yeah, I just feel like storytelling-wise, for long-term fans, it was very unsatisfying end to the main event of WrestleMania. But I'm glad you had fun watching it. I definitely had fun watching the show as well. And yeah, that's hopefully, if you're out there, you can find your people and watch wrestling with friends and family, because it's so much better that way.
Exactly. And overall, we're going to talk about this, but overall, WrestleMania as a whole, well, we're going to talk about that a little later. All right, let us get to night 2, WrestleMania, starting off with probably the match of the weekend, triple threat match for the WWE Women's World Championship. Io Sky versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley. These gals had something to prove, and by God, fuck you, Kevin Nash, they proved it.
Absolutely. Awesome showing from all three. I've seen online Io Sky's family reacting. I think it was after she won the match, but just in general, possibly her entrance at WrestleMania. Just I saw Kairi Sane backstage crying. Like, it's a huge moment for Io Sky to walk in as women's champion and walk out pretty much anointed as the best female wrestler in WWE right now. And it's hard to argue that, man. This was awesome. This was the kind of triple threat match we like, when it's not just your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. They worked really hard to all three be involved in the action as much as possible, and to come up with creative ways to do moves to each other, to lock each other in each other's moves, and all these fun twists and turns. It was really well thought out and executed flawlessly. There was a terrifying moment when Io Sky went for a reverse poison Rana. Shout out Brayden and Davey. And fucking Rhea Ripley reverses that into kind of like an Alabama slamish thing onto the ring post, and Io Sky hits her face off the ring post. That's a spot that I'll remember for a long time. But yeah, this opening match was a banger, and it was not that she needed a coming out party, but it was a coming out party for Io Sky. For the casual fan, they know who this person is now.
Yeah. Crowd loved it. Everyone loved it. This match was great, man. This match was honestly great. Io Sky ends up winning. So good. It was so good, man. It was so good. It was good. What else can you say?
Yes. Yeah, you've said it all, man. If and when we do a list of our top matches at the end of the year, this is going to be high on the list. It is like an all-time classic. It's a WrestleMania moment. The best thing on either show. Although I did like the main event of night one a lot. I think this was slightly better, and it was better than anything on NXT. There have been some good matches that I haven't seen yet on like the indies. We're gonna have to check a couple out. But if anything was better than that this weekend, then they did a fucking amazing job. This was excellent, a classic, the best moment of this WrestleMania.
Absolutely, and this leads us into a Sin City street fight: Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. I think both of these guys went into this match with a chip on their shoulder, wanted to prove to the powers that be that they deserve a better spot. Matt, do you think that they proved their point?
I do. I thought this was really good. Kind of a poor man's version of the Drew McIntyre Punk Hell in a Cell match. Not at that level, obviously, but it had vibes of that. I like Drew McIntyre in these weapons matches because he sells his ass off. He really like shows the damage. He's like struggling by the end of these fights, and whether he wins or loses, he definitely has been through a war. And yeah, he's so charismatic. Like, his running bit of getting selfies during WrestleMania is now it's my favorite running gag. Fuck the Undertaker streak. I want the Drew Max selfie streak to continue forever. But yeah, I thought this was a very good match. And like you said, chip on the shoulder kind of match. These guys wanted to prove to management and to fans that they ain't no second match dudes. They deserve a higher spot.
The right person won. Drew McIntyre ends up winning this match. We talked about this in our previous show, and I do think that the right person won, deservedly so.
Yeah, no notes, 100% agree. Drew needed this performance, and he needed this W, and he got them both.
All right, then. I think a lot of like internet fans' favorite match, Fatal 4-Way match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship: Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Finn Balor versus Dirty Dominic Mysterio. Dom gets his flowers. Matt, this was a face-turning performance for Dominic Mysterio.
The WrestleMania crowd and the Raw after Mania historically are the weirdest crowds. Like, they have the most wide array of fans, some hipster fans, some people who are casuals and just cheer for the face they like the most, like literally like the person's human face that they like the most. So it's not always that the reactions you see on WrestleMania and tomorrow on Raw are going to be the reactions going forward. Having said that, Boris, we've been saying for months and months that Dominic Mysterio one day is going to be the biggest babyface in professional wrestling. They hate him so much now. Eventually that's going to turn to love, and they're going to embrace this guy. And that officially has started. as of WrestleMania 41, Dominic Mysterio was the biggest babyface in this match. The crowd fucking loved him. They were cheering for him openly and loudly the entire time. He got cheered during his entrance and cheered more and more as the match went on. And when he stole this Intercontinental title from Finn Balor after Balor hit the stompy stomp, the crowd went nuts, and the announcers had to point it out, like a huge reaction for Dominic Mysterio. He got a standing ovation, huge babyface pop, and it officially begins. Man, they should slowly turn this guy into the biggest babyface in WWE. I truly believe so.
His dad would be so proud. May he rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero.
Love it.
But man, honestly, everything about this guy, him, the way he walked out, the way he took off the mask, the way he even brushed his dirty fucking mustache, everything he does is just done on purpose. This guy gets it.
Absolutely, and he's a less is more kind of wrestler, but he has a good amount of physical charisma, a decent promo. But yeah, he's just got that it factor that the crowd just gravitates to. He's really figured it out. Every single move he makes, like you say, is calculated, and it does generate a reaction. It is meant to, and it does. As for the match itself here, I thought this was really good. All four guys looked great. Braun Breaker shot out of a fucking cannon as per usual. They saying he runs the ropes at 25 miles an hour, which I believe. I believe it. This was a really good match. Probably even better than the previous street fight, which I liked as well. But I think this one was even better.
The crowd made this match. Match. Dominic made this match. Finn Balor done dirty by Dirty Dom. This was a really good match, and again takes out this multi-people match. I'm loving this. I'm loving how they're booking these matches right now.
1000% agree. Yeah, Dominic Mysterio is your new Intercontinental Champion, and then WrestleMania jumps on a quad, a four-wheeler, and runs the fuck into a wall, and that's the end of WrestleMania on this evening. This is where it falls off a cliff.
The next match was still good. Which was Randy Orton versus question mark. They said his name and he appeared. It was Joe Hendry.
Yeah, Joe Hendry appeared all right. It was very cool to see the TNA champion announced as such walk down to the ring at WrestleMania. Crowd loves this Joe Hendry. Now, Orton made quick work of this fucking hoe. He raffle-coptered this man. He gator rolled him, RKO'd him in 3 minutes, picked his scrawny ass up, and RKO'd him again. In that way, was it even a win for TNA just to have a guy come out with your title and get demolished by Randy Orton? I don't know. Losing to Randy Orton at WrestleMania isn't that bad, but the way he lost was pretty bad.
Honestly, no one's gonna remember the loss. Everyone's gonna remember how funny it was. And it's the thing. If it was anyone else, I would be complaining. Honest to God. But it's Randy fucking Orton on his 20th anniversary of WrestleMania, and this was the thing. He was gonna get the W no matter what. So better that they didn't throw a returning Rusev, a returning Aleister Black, a whatever, right? He was gonna get the W. It sucks in a sense if you're going to analyze everything the way that we do. Yes, TNA looks stupid that their world champion couldn't last with Randy Orton, but it's Randy fucking Orton.
I actually agree 100% with that. Like in the 1980s, in the 70s and 60s, it would have mattered a lot more. You know what I mean? Back when it was trying, for lack of a better term, to be real. You know what I mean? Everyone knows the deal. The only fans who even consider it or complain about it at all are the hardest of the hardcore who will be watching every single show no matter what anyway. So it really is just internet chatter. Having said that, in watching it live, it was oof, tough beat for TNA. Beat for TNA there.
Yeah, it was funny. But again, WrestleMania moments were had. Joe Hendry, obviously, you can tell that he was having a blast. Randy Orton was even having fun. So who the fuck cares what we think?
No, exactly. At the end of the day, it's a positive. Yeah, you couldn't really call it a good match or anything because it was 3 minutes of a lot of posing and an RKO. It was fine. It was a fine 3 minutes for sure. I definitely didn't hate it. But yeah, I'm sure there are some TNA hardcores who were pretty upset about it.
I'm sure TNA hardcores are upset about the next match as well. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. A lot of people expected this match to steal the weekend. It stole something, all right. My will to live.
It was a great match. This is one of the worst Logan Paul performances. I think the wrong person won. Logan Paul beat AJ, although that was obvious. I feel like we kind of all saw that coming. That kind of sucks. And yeah, I think the Logan Paul experiment is running its course a little bit. I don't know what they're going to do with him. They got to kind of figure it out because he's now, is he a wrestler? Is he officially a WWE superstar and he's going to be part of the roster? Then treat him as such. Make him as such. Because right now you're still kind of doing this is an influencer. Isn't it cool that he's here? Kind of build to his matches. And this is the one where it's like, okay, we've seen that. We've had 10 or 15 of those Logan Paul matches. He needs to be fucking part of this thing or go away. You know what I mean? So it's just like having him have a random weird good match, which is not even close to as good as the other ones he's had with other people at this point. He's he needs to get more involved in storylines. He needs to have a real long feud with people, not just be a satellite, orbiting WWE.
Stop having a situationship with WWE and its fans.
Yes, and you get in or get out, either shit or get off the pod.
Because if anyone
Logan Paul
knows anything about situationships, it's this guy right here.
Fair enough, buddy. Fair enough. But yeah, man. So I feel like the fans have seen it with Logan Paul, and they're like, okay, what's next? And this was where WrestleMania really started to fall off.
If he sticks around and has stories and does this, does that. That win makes a lot of sense. If he's going to be a little bitch and not show up, then AJ Styles deserves better.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly.
Speaking of people deserving better, and WWE, look, I understand, and this is this is one of those cases of fuck the internet fans. We are going to do something for the casuals, but here's the thing, Matt. I don't even think the casuals like this. I don't even think the casuals like the treatment of the Bayley. It was for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Liv Morgan, by God, Liv Morgan's had a weekend. And Raquel Rodriguez versus Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch. Matt, let's talk about this real fast. Bayley, not injured. Storyline injured. Been in the works for weeks. Becky Lynch in the works for weeks that she was going to come back for this match. You can't help but feel bad for Bayley.
Yeah. So to me, it felt like around Royal Rumble and Elimination Chamber season that they were building to Bayley versus Roxanne at WrestleMania, and that would have been a very good match on this show. The way that this is happening, to me, puts me in mind that maybe Bayley's contract is coming up soon and she has yet to re-sign. And that's kind of, that would make sense if you see the way that Bayley has been treated over the last couple weeks. They're still
they're not sure. They don't want to bury her, but they're not sure.
Yes. And she's been losing a lot, but at the same time, she will win here or there. She was set up to be in this tag team match. She was kind of getting that push. But yeah, I feel like what's happening here is Bayley has not re-signed to WWE. That's just a guess, but it's based on logic and common sense. And I feel like what they're doing right now does make sense in that way. And perhaps Bayley's going to go and join Mercedes to wrestle in Japan and overseas. Maybe that's going to happen. But I sure hope Bayley sticks around. She's been the glue of the women's division.
I doubt she will. I think she's going to stick around. I'm pretty sure she's going to stick around. But it's just weird. It's just weird, right? At the same time, this just goes to show, if we're both incorrect about this, it just goes to show you how much of a team player Bayley actually is, right?
For sure, to give up her WrestleMania spot for someone else. And it does make sense. Like, Bayley and Lyra were kind of a thrown together tag team. They ended up having some decent chemistry, and I did like them as a pairing, but Lyra and Becky make so much more sense, like kind of a student, teacher, mentor, pupil kind of situation. They're both from Ireland. Lyra Valkyria looked like she had tears in her eyes in her entrance, and then when Becky came out and she pointed to her, she laughed, like, oh my God, like as if this is my life. And it was really cool. And I thought this match was good. It was actually better than AJ Styles versus Logan Paul, for real.
Honestly, this match was good. I like this match a lot. Liv Morgan continues to impress both in the eyes and in the ring. And honestly, this was a fun match. This match was exactly what it needed to be. And I think for a story, the right people run. Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch end up winning and are your new WWE Tag Team Champions, which leads us into NXT on Tuesday when Lyra Valkyria faces her BFF Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan.
That'll be interesting. I hope they have a good match. And that isn't that not TNA Women's Tag Team Champions versus WWE Women's Tag Team Champions?
No, they have a shot at the TNA Tag Team Championship at Rebellion next weekend.
I see. So there is a chance that they could hold both belts, although I assume they're losing both of those matches.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows?
Well, one thing I know was that WWE did not want to keep Liv Morgan in Vegas until Wednesday morning.
Yeah, definitely Gear of the Year award goes to Liv Morgan WrestleMania 41.
Yeah, man. We'll try to recreate it at some point. Then it was
A+ OnlyFans.
Let's make exactly. You have to pay us not to make an OnlyFans. Then it was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, Stone Cold looked like he was having a few. He was a little late to his entrance and then was having the time of his life running his quad around the ring. Actually smashed the wall and scared the fuck out of a fan ringside. Looked like she had a heart attack and she was not pleased with Stone Cold. But yeah, Stone Cold just left his quad smashed up against the wall, grabbed a couple giant cue cards with 72-point font, like handwritten magic marker as big as possible, grandpa cue cards, and read the attendance. Yeah, this was fun, but it looked like Austin was sauced well before he got those beers in the ring.
Nick Khan even made an appearance talking to that fan. Oh, so funny. So funny. Everything about this is just so wrong. And you know what the worst part is? I kind of feel like this isn't the first time that he's crashed something and just left it on the scene.
Oh no! Oh dear! Yeah, Stone Cold. Yeah, how could you not have smiled at that ridiculous 5 minutes of programming?
At the same time, my first thought was there's not a lot of room between the guardrail and the ring. I hope he knows what he's doing.
That's so funny. I was thinking that same thing. It's like, wow, I hope he knows what he's doing. Oh no, guess not. He immediately crashed.
Oh, all right. This leads us into the main event of WrestleMania 41 for the Undisputed Championship. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. Matt, 2/3 of this match, I liked. That last third, it was Vince Russo TNA booking.
Yeah, pretty well. It was like LOL famous person shows up and then like kind of gets involved sort of. Cody didn't, I guess he hit him with his finishing move, brings Travis Scott into the ring, hits him with the crossroads, scoots his ass out of the ring, and then John Cena hits a belt shot and wins the title via belt shot. So this match felt like it kind of stayed in first, second gear. Like it was the beginning was fine. And we got to the middle to like the climax, and then there could have been a nice third act where they were fighting back and forth, but instead John Cena just kind of pinned him. Yeah, this will be the Travis Scott main event. Not even The Rock. The Rock's weird rapper friend, who is, I guess, the liaison, the link between John Cena and The Rock is Travis Scott for some reason. Okay, and it's like he's like famous. He's a pretty big star. It's not like he's the biggest star in music. Like, it's not like he's fucking Taylor Swift out there. And also, he's like a little problematic. So you're gonna just turn people off that way with the whole Travis Scott thing. Like, there's some controversies there with Travis Scott, which you're free to Google if you like. He's not like a violent criminal, but yeah, he's a little adjacent to some violence that happened in his concert. He's not Chris Brown. He's not fucking Harvey Weinstein by any means. He's not even canceled as the term goes. But I mean, I understand people being like, Travis Scott, fuck that guy. Why are you associating with him, WWE? And to have him just be the focal point almost of the main event. He made an Undertaker entrance. His entrance took 5 fucking minutes. His entrance was longer than fucking Orton versus Hendry.
If I knew Travis Scott was coming to the ring, I would have fucking demolished John Cena by the time before he showed up to the ring.
At least demolish a slice of pizza or two. You know, Cody Rhodes had time to call his wife, call his kids, make sure all was well, go pet the dog, take him for a little walk. Like, yeah, it's a very strange and obviously unsatisfying choice for wrestling fans. And even if you're just a hyper casual, you've already seen Travis Scott in the set. You've already had like the, oh cool, that's Travis Scott moment. And if you know nothing about wrestling, you might be inclined to dislike seeing this guy. So it's just a very strange choice, and it kind of ended what was a really good weekend of wrestling on a little bit of, I wouldn't even say sour note, just a strange and puzzling note. Weird note.
Exactly.
Weird
Puzzling,
note.
Weird. Ugh, I don't know. Whatever. John Cena wins his 17th title. Asterisks on that bad boy just because of the way that everything went down. But that was the point. I think that was the point that they were trying to make, and we will see where they go with this. But yeah.
John Cena is advertised for the next year, though. He's supposed to be at SummerSlam. They advertised an October pay-per-view in Australia, and they specifically said John Cena will be there. And so there's no reason to think he's losing this title anytime soon. He'll hold it at least until Survivor Series Royal Rumble. They made a big deal of this being his final WrestleMania, so maybe he loses it at the Royal Rumble in that big stadium show that they're going to do there. Like, whatever it might be, there's the odds are fine that he doesn't wrestle up next year's WrestleMania, but he might show up there too.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see where they go with this. But there you go. There you go. For all you Cody haters, you're all happy. For all you John Cena lovers, you're all happy. Didn't end up the way that it should have, but here we are. I think that at the end of the day, the result was what we expected, but how we got there, very weird. Very
few people predicted the 5-minute Travis Scott entrance and uninspired run-in to end WrestleMania. I will say they throw us a curveball in that regard.
Yep. All right, Matt, let us go to listener feedback. We love our feedback. Get your yellow and red cards ready.
Love it.
But yeah, man, the best place to give us your feedback is by going to facebook.com and searching for the group A+ Productions. That is where we live. That is where you can find everything here. Yeah, man. Again, thank you to everyone for giving your feedback, your thoughts, even your running commentary. Always a blast, always fun. Drains my battery until I remember to turn off the notifications.
Yes, always a good I have my Facebook Messenger notifications off. Actually, Messenger I have notifications on because I'm not a fucking sociopath, but Facebook notifications have to stay off for your sanity.
All right, Danny Vadernick, he says, overall, not a good WrestleMania. WWE's creative department spent all that time hyping up Cena versus Rhodes and completely making the rest of the card and angles seem meaningless, save for Heyman drama. I was expecting something that would be earth-shattering, that would be talked about for years to come, and that's what we got. That was the AI Capone's Vault of WrestleMania main event finishes. So anticlimactic and underwhelming. This is straight out of Vince McMahon, new generation booking. If anyone benefits from this the most, it's AEW because they might get a lot more viewers. Now, yellow card on that one.
Okay, well, Al Capone's Vault. That's a good. That's a good reference. I do think he's being a little hard on this. If you go in and your bar is something that will be talked about for generations, like if you go in with your bar being, I want a generational moment, you're going to be disappointed a lot. The whole definition of a big moment that will be talked about for generations is that one or two happen every 20 years. That's how you get that, right? So you can't expect that every time. Was it an underwhelming WrestleMania, though? Yeah. Was it bad? No. Bad is like 11 or 9, or there's been some bad ones. WrestleMania 2. This wasn't bad. There was nothing on those shows that even approached either of the triple threat matches. You know, it was still good overall, but it was certainly not as good as it could have been. And boy, did it fall off a cliff at the end of night 2 there.
Matt, are we are we putting WrestleMania on such a high mountaintop that everyone's expectations are just too high and will never be reached at this point? I think a lot of people,
sometimes,
right? Like yeah. It's interesting. I know it's your biggest show of the year, but I think even my own expectations sometimes might be a little too high for WrestleMania.
It's a good problem to have if you're WWE, because you have set the bar high for yourself. And like the last 2 years were really good, top to bottom, pretty much. And the expectations were high coming into this one because they hit the fucking Grand Slam home run 2 years in a row. And this wasn't the Grand Slam home run. So yeah, they did it to themselves, and it's a good problem to have, to set expectations high. But yes, sometimes fans are a little unrealistic, maybe sometimes.
This was an error. A bobble at first.
Yeah, a little bit of a bobble. Maybe like a 7-6 loss, and a couple performers did go yard. Io Sky went yard. CM Punk went yard. But overall, the team didn't quite get it done, maybe. I still think it was a good show, though.
Yeah,
I think it was a good show.
Is it safe to say, also, that the 2 Las Vegas WrestleManias might have had the worst finishes ever?
Interesting. They're up there. Yeah, they're really up there. I think the worst WrestleMania finish ever was the Miz John Cena one. I truly think that was the worst one, but this might be the 2 Las Vegas WrestleManias might be silver and bronze medal in that category.
Lenny Wu. Lenny, always a pleasure chatting with you. Thanks for leaving your feedback. He says, overall, a mixed bag. Some good, some head scratcher. I got hilariously distracted with the feathers scattered in the ring during the women's tag team championship match. I was distracted with something else. During the IC Fatal 4-Way, I kept thinking Dom would likely win, and he sure did. I thought if it was for the sheets and giggles that he win it. Henry Orton was nice, short and sweet though. Stone Cold hitting the security barricade. Oof. I don't mind Cena getting number 17. Always fun to add GIFs, but for feedback, my first time, I don't know what to humorously add. Lenny, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, your humor is enough for us, Lenny. Yeah, we might have to yellow card you over there, homie, if you bring up friggin' Liv one more time. No, I understand. That is one of the big stories.
I didn't say anything about Liv.
Well, it's one of the you did.
I said I was distracted.
Fair enough. You did it technically. Check the tape. If the court would read that back, you will find that Boris did not perjure himself. Check the tape. It's true. You did it. You alluded to it, but anyway.
I was distracted. People were talking to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Listen, Liv Morgan was definitely one of the big stories of WrestleMania. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, oof indeed for Austin hitting the barricade. That made me laugh. I'm glad everybody was okay, because that could have been a little worse than it was for sure. But yes, a mixed bag for sure. This is it was like trick-or-treating. You get some chocolate bars, but you also got some fucking boxes of raisins on this WrestleMania.
You also got a book.
Yes. Depending on the book, that might be better than the raisins.
The Bible.
Oh man!
I'm Christian.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Pope. The Pope dying on Easter feels like some kind of bad omen.
Anyways, Blaine. Someone should check on Blaine. This is the shortest feedback he's ever given us.
We love you, Blaine. Don't be mean to Blaine.
I'm not mean. Listen.
No, it's true. Just as a mathematical fact. Again, check the tape. I don't believe that you have perjured yourself here, Boris.
You're putting words in my mouth, my friend. Yellow card to you. No!
Get in the ref's face. Get my second yellow. Sorry, please continue.
Blade. All right. A significant improvement from night one. Though night one had a much better main event. Aside from that, all of the other matches delivered, and we had some much needed WrestleMania moments, which I felt were largely missing from night one. This night actually felt like their biggest show of the year, and not just another PLE. And Matt, this is the thing, right? With 2 nights of WrestleMania, I hope this isn't the trend that we're getting, where the Saturday matches are like, and then the Sunday is the actual show, for lack of a better term, right? And with SummerSlam going to 2 nights, I'm sure Royal Rumble will eventually turn into 2 nights. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
I know what you mean. It's something that they have to avoid for sure, but it just the way that you structure shows, it would make sense to have some of the weaker quote unquote matches at the start on Sunday, the way you would just structure any show. If you picture it like like the two nights as one show, it just kind of makes sense to stack the card that way. Yeah, it's something they have to avoid. Royal Rumble is the one that does make sense that it's two nights though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Royal Rumble 2 nights does make sense the most. All right, Kirk Havlin said, much better overall than night one. No stinkers tonight like last night, but there was a heavier boring effect here as there was some stagnant storytelling, especially in the main event. For my money, though, the women's triple threat was not only the match of the night, but the best match of Mania this weekend.
Yeah, agreed. No notes. 5 out of 5. That's a PK. We're pointing to the spot. He gets a penalty shot for that one.
Yep. Justin Dawes said night two started really strong, but when it got to AJ and Logan and that bad ending with the final match, I was like, ew, this tastes bad.
Yeah, I feel like most wrestling fans are kind of in agreement on this one. It's rare these days that you.
Agreed. Yeah, wrestling fans in general all agree that this the ending to this night was left a lot to be desired. Having said that, no one's complaining about the result, which is interesting, right? It's like we like the result, but we didn't like how they got there, which is a very rare thing in wrestling nowadays.
That's a good point. But they did get there in the dumbest way imaginable, to be fair to us.
Yep. Jay Lambier said the main event of night two should be known as the Great Deflator because that's what it did to the entire night. Whomever booked that dumpster fire should be future endeavored and keep Scotty the Travis away from the screen until the end of time. He should be known as Scotty from now on because he is the absolute shits and makes me want to reach for toilet paper.
All right, I respect the toilet paper pun. There's a little bit of a journey getting there, but I respect it. Tip of the cap to you, good sir. That's funny. Yes, Scotty Too Hottie versus Travis Too Scotty. Main event, WrestleMania 42. Book it.
That was that. Yeah, overall, good night.
Yeah.
I would have to give this night a thumbs up overall. I thought that overall WrestleMania Night 2 was a not much better. It was better than Night 1. Main event of Night 1, obviously, so much better than the main event Night 2. And like I said, I think the journey that we took to get there was weird, but the result made sense, and it was right for business for John Cena to win. Matt, how would you rate tonight? Thumbs up, thumbs down, and what was your match of the night?
Yeah, for sure, match of the night has to be the women's triple threat. I think that's match of the weekend, too. Just barely over Punk, Roman, and Rollins. I do think Io, Bianca, and Rhea was the best match that I saw all weekend. They kicked ass. Great job to all three of those performers. Yeah, thumbs up, but barely. I was for some reason more confident in my night one thumbs up than I am in my night two thumbs up. The second half of the show, really, I was like, I don't know about this. We're kind of slowing down and running out of gas here. But overall, the first three matches on this show and just the pomp, the circumstance, the whole kit and caboodle of WrestleMania, thumbs up for sure.
Agreed 100% with you, man. All right, that is everything. Thank you so much for listening to us babble on. We really do appreciate we really do appreciate every single listener and all the feedback that we get. The best place to leave feedback and where we have all of the threads for wrestling shows is going over to facebook.com and searching for A Plus Productions. Best place to find out all of your A Plus Productions news is by going to aplusproductions.com, and that is where not only can you find where our feeds live, but you can see what shows that we have. Please be sure to leave a review and hit that follow button. It does mean so much to you. We got some huge news coming over the next few weeks on where A Plus Wrestling is going and where it can be heard. And Matt, got some cool stuff happening.
Excited, brother. Excited. The new fiscal year of wrestling is upon us. Now that WrestleMania has ended the previous one. And yeah, man, I'm excited. It's going to be a good summer for the crew here at A+, and thank y'all for being part of the journey.
Exactly, and what a journey it has been. No Travis Scott on this journey. But yeah. Thank you.
But I will slap you so hard I break your eardrum, Boris.
Jesus Christ. Thanks to everyone for your feedback, for listening, and for supporting us through thick and thin. We really do appreciate it.
Mostly thick.
Mostly thick. Never thin on this show. On behalf of Matt and the entire A+ crew, thank you so much for listening. But most importantly, y'all, stay tranquilo.